Hey guys, wonderful here again with another wrestling review. This time it's NWA Powerrr from August 2nd and NWA USA from August 6th, 2022. Both shows were recorded in Nashville, Tennessee. As we get closer and closer to NWA 74, things are definitely heating up. But the biggest news by far is seemingly the corrupt management of the NWA by head official Billy Corgan. So it all goes back to Matt Cardona getting injured before the Always Ready pay-per-view, becoming unable to defend the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Corgan made a deal with Cardona in order to strip him of the title since Cardona was going to be out for many months. The deal was that all the Cardona family members get title shots that they have not earned. And now a lot of people have noticed, such as Chelsea Green, who wasn't even close to becoming the top one contender, getting a title shot. Same with VSK, who was handed a junior heavyweight title shot. And then the Cardona's tag team, normally a tag team, were both entered into the number one contenders tournament for the NWA World Heavyweight title, where not only Mike Knox got a bye to the finals, he didn't even have to wrestle in the first round. In the finals, it was instead of a 2-on-2 in the finals and having a semi before it, it was just a four-way finals. So Brian Myers and Mike Knox were able to team up. However, Nick Aldis fought through the double team to win the four-way. So now Nick Aldis, who has carried this company on his back for many years now, has been one of the most outspoken in the locker room about how corrupt Billy Corgan has gotten. So Billy Corgan doubled down on his power trip, stripping Aldis of his number one contendership and just handing the new number one contender is TV champion Tyrus, who didn't do anything to deserve it other than like keeping his TV title, but you know what I mean. Now it's plain for everyone to see that Billy Corgan is corrupt, and even though hold on, I lost my spot. But yeah, stripping Aldis of his number one contendership, and now it's plain for everyone to see that Billy Corgan's corrupt. Corgan claimed to have not been able to strip Cardona of the world title, even though he had a legitimate reason to. But Corgan was able to strip the number one contendership that Aldis won fairly for no good reason at all. So that fact right there, above all anything else, is enough to prove to the world of the wrongdoings here. So even without factoring those unjust title shots. So I have no idea what this means going forward. I know a lot of NWA fans are a little bit furious with this news. And even though it seems to be all storyline, the NWA fans see it as a real thing because they're really going to have to sit through a real main event with Tyrus in the main event. So this is not really a good look for the NWA, not really a good thing. I don't know if this story is going to be a good thing, but it needs to definitely be fleshed out in the next few weeks because I could see people refusing to buy NWA 74 and maybe even give up on the promotion over something like this. So I know it happens to be a storyline, but it involves the man who saved the company getting screwed by the company, and then someone else that nobody wants to see in the main event. So I don't know where this is going. Hopefully, we find out more. I was hoping we would this week, but really, we don't get to find out any more info on that this week. So that just completely overshadows everything else that's going on, even with the great strides that the women's division has been making, the announcement of a new women's title, the NWA Women's Television Championship. But then again, everything's getting overshadowed here by Billy Corgan, of all people, a washed up rock star who, yes, put his money into the company, but now it seems like everything's revolving around him. So, not people like Homicide, who's been doing a great job as junior heavyweight champion, not the world champion himself, Trevor Murdoch, who's barely been seen in the last couple months and since winning the title, and not even a spotlight here on the over year-long reign of NWA Women's World Champion Camille. So all the great champions and wrestlers, young and old, men and women, it all comes back to this story where Billy Corgan's screwing Nick Aldis. So we don't know what's going on. It seems kind of crappy overall. So hopefully they can figure a way out of this and get the stories back to the wrestlers. Let's see how NWA plans to get out of this mess, starting with this week's NWA Powerrr from August 2nd, 2022. And the first thing we see is Kyle Davis with the OGK, the Original Kingdom, Mike Bennett, and Matt Taven, who the crowd loves here in NWA, but on Impact Wrestling at the moment, they're two of the most hated men on the roster alongside Honor No More. So it's definitely super weird to see them getting cheered here. Last time we saw OGK on NWA, they were fighting against La Rebellion, and it ended up being a no contest when things broke down. Bestia's 666 father, Damien 666, was there as well, and a brawl broke out with mist and stuff happening from Damien. So Matt Taven says, I would love to tell you that we're going to walk into that locker room, smack the compacts out of the hands of those Melvins that wear makeup back there, drag them out here in front of the NWA crowd and show them that messing with the OGK is the biggest mistake they've ever made in their careers. But Mike's right. That's not what we're here for. Since day one, my goal here was to make all those keyboard Melvin warriors feel real stupid when I write my name in the history books once again, because I want to be the first team to win the ROH, IWGP, and NWA tag team titles. So La Rebellion, La Melvins, we will get our revenge on you, but that has to be down the road after we get our shot at the world titles, tag team titles. So then Mike Bennett says, Kyle, let me diffuse this situation a little bit by asking you a question. Do you know why we do this? Why we wrestle? We do it because of for the competition. We do it because when we were little kids, there was something in our bones, in our soul, that said that we were competitive by nature. So La Rebellion, listen to me when I tell you this. I understand that what you did. I don't like it. I'm not happy about it, but I understand. Truthfully, that's something we probably would have done a few years ago. But the truth is, we are competitive because we have a goal. Moments like that only serve as distractions to the main goal, becoming NWA World Heavyweight World Tag Team Champions. Um, so wow, holy crap! Did they just say a lot? Didn't really just get to the point of the title. They want the titles. I can't buy Mike Bennett saying that he would have done it a few years ago, because we see him do it every week on Impact currently. So anyway, before OGK can leave here, La Rebellion comes out. So Bestia calls them Miguel and Mateo, and then Mecha Wolf says, "You guys have some nerve coming to the Wolf's Den and calling out the baddest tag team in this company. For 287 days, we held down the tag team division in the NWA. We represented in the UK, Mexico, Puerto Rico, all over America, while you were sitting at home, growing your gut, taking care of your children. That's what we were doing, representing this company and this tag division. So I think it's hilarious that you come out here and talk about tag team titles. If you want a shot at the titles, you're going to have to go through us first." So the crowd cheers this. They like both teams, apparently. Matt Taven then says, "You're the reason why we're here. We came to fight you guys for those NWA tag team titles. But looks like you guys dropped the ball, didn't you? And you're lucky your dad's not here to save you this time." So the Bestia then punches Taven. Mecha Wolf attacks Bennett here. OGK fight back, but Damien Says comes out, spits black mist into the face of both the OGK members, and that ends this segment. So the announcers for NWA are terrible. They made this attack look out like cheesy and bad with the way they announced it. So if they had just stayed quiet, it would have been much better here. That's the exact sign of a bad announced team. When if you didn't say anything at all, it would have been better than what you actually did. So that means you're really bad. Anyway, the opening video plays now, and we have our first match of the evening. After that, it will be for the #1 contendership for the NWA National Championship, currently held by the Dane event, Jax Dane. So out first is accompanied by Aron Stevens. It's 51-year-old Rodney Mack. Aron felt so strongly about helping Rodney that he canceled his retirement and his trip to Brazil to um, manage Rodney Mack here. So out next, accompanied by his father, Austin Idol, is Cyon, and who Cyon was estranged most of his life from his father, but now has gotten back in order to gain NWA gold. So Rodney Mack starts strong here with big strikes and a big slam, but Rodney mounts for some punches here. The referee yells at him, "Open up the fist." So Rodney quickens the pace now, hits a lariat and a power slam, and has been completely dominant so far. Cyon looks in trouble already. Cyon then evades a corner attack, though, and it takes Rodney down hard on his shoulder here with an arm wringer like slam. Cyon's in control now, hitting strikes and a snap suplex, then works over the shoulder a little more Mack tries to fight back, but Cyon hits a big DDT, and there's a lot of fight left in Rodney Mack, who kicks out at 1 here. The crowd's chanting for Rodney, but Cyon grabs the throat here to keep control, eventually absorbing some more strikes and hitting a hip toss. Mack tries the sunset flip now, but Cyon reverses it into a pin. Cyon holds the knee pad of Mack for some leverage, and the referee counts 1, 2, 3. The winner of this match by pinfall and new #1 contender to the national title, Cyon. So, Cyon, just like you said, he wanted to get back together with his father, Austin Idol, to get gold. It looks like it's working. He's got himself a title match. Aaron Stevens and Rodney Mack are mad about that, but the referee's decision is final. And this will set up, I guess, a heel versus heel matchup for the national title. And with Jack Steen defending against Cyon, I don't think they said if this title match is at NWA 74 or before that. But we've heard Chris Silvio before say that Jack Steen is done defending it on the title on Powerrr and USA, so I'm assuming it's at NWA 74. So Mack definitely looked better than Cyon, even at his advanced age in this one. And then we don't get any more info about why Aaron Stevens is with Rodney Mack than we already knew. So absolutely, or Aaron Stevens did nothing during the match. You wouldn't even known he was there until you saw him looking mad at the end. So in the back now with is interviewer May Valentine, and with her is the NWA Women's Champion, World's Women's Champion, I should say, because we're about to get another singles title. But the NWA Women's World Champion Camille with her husband Tom Lattimore, and May is excited about NWA 74 and asks Camille what she thinks about the event. Camille says, NWA 74, it's a 2-night event. It's exciting for the fans and exciting for me, but also I know I'm going to have to work 2 nights. Why? Because the first night I have to defend my title, and then after that, because Billy Corgan loves making me do a ton of work, after I retain my title the first night, I have to face the winner of the Mildred Burke Invitational on the second night. It's fine. Just more matches under my belt, more wins for me. No biggie. So then May asks Tom how he feels. Tom Lattimore says, I'm excited. Whatever gets tossed at me, I'm going to destroy it. Last time we were there, I jumped off a 20-foot ladder. So you know I'll do whatever it takes to pull out a victory. So then we go to an ad break. So that was interesting. Nothing about Tom about Billy from Tom about Billy when Tom did have to battle those double team in the #1 contender 4-way. But Camille does bring up Billy here, talking about how she's forced to defend the women's title twice back-to-back days at NWA 74. So I haven't heard anything about this Mildred Burke Invitational, so I can't even begin to think who might win it. But last week we did see Taya Valkyrie defeat Kylan King to become the #1 contender, but Camille never mentioned Taya Valkyrie here. So either it's because she didn't know, she didn't care, or maybe Taya's getting a shot before NWA 74. But I doubt that. I'm assuming it's going to be Taya Valkyrie versus Camille on night 1, and then maybe it's going to be Kylan King that wins the Mildred Burke. I don't know who's in the Mildred Burke Invitational, but it seems like maybe Kylan King would get another title shot at NWA 74. So when we come back from an ad break now, May Valentine's in the back with NWA World Heavyweight Champion Trevor Murdoch, and May says, Trevor, you're going to be facing the Pope on next week's episode of Powerrr, and rumors are that you asked for this match. So Murdoch says, yes, I did ask for the match, but the reason I did is between me and the Pope. What's important is that we need to be focusing on NWA 74 in St. Louis. I will be there as the NWA World Heavyweight Champion. That's what's important. So May says, okay, but if you're that focused on NWA 74, why are you facing the Pope? And Murdoch says, again, that's between me and the Pope. And then the interview ends. So, wow, talk about anti-charisma here. I've heard Murdoch be charismatic before, but this just looked like he got out of bed and he wanted to be anywhere else in the world. Pretty strange that, again, the champions aren't talking about their opponents. Murdoch didn't mention anybody by name. He didn't mention Nick Aldis, Tyrus, Billy Corgan, nothing. So this was a nothing thing. It does set. I'm interested to see what happens with the Pope. So I guess I'll wait till next week before jumping to any conclusions. But right now, it just seems like Trevor Murdoch's been a distant champion. It's like you could have just kept the title on Matt Cardona because it really wouldn't have made any difference because we haven't even really seen Trevor Murdoch on TV, let alone in matches. So I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. We are going to see him in action next week. So, like I said, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions yet. Maybe we'll start to get some story. But at this current moment, it's like the champions don't even acknowledge who they're fighting. We're just talking about NWA 74. I know it's still a few weeks away, but some of these matches are like we're told that it's going to be Tyrus for the title against. Murdoch, and we're told that it's going to be Ty Valkyrie's the number one contender. So it's not like it's just weird. They're not even like really setting up for their matches at the pay-per-view as of yet. We'll give them a couple more weeks. We've got more weeks, so we'll see how it goes. Like I said, we'll see what happens with the Pope match next week. So next here on Powerrr will be a 6-man team war match. And this is between the Ill Begotten and the Miserably Faithful. So out first is the Ill Begotten, accompanied by Danny Dealz in his neck brace, and then Ronaldo Freeman as well. So in the match, it will be Alex Taylor, Jeremiah Plunkett, and Rush Freeman, the big little brother of Ronaldo, who's the big little brother, and then Ronaldo's the little big brother. That whole but Ronaldo's the one on the outside here, the little guy. So out accompanied next by Father James Mitchell, the sinister minister, is the Miserably Faithful. It's Gaagz the Gimp, Sal the Pal, and Judais. So the rules of a tag war match are the match begins with one member from each team while the others wait ringside. Once one of the guys that start the match gets eliminated, only then can a new person enter the ring. There is no tags in this match. So eliminations can happen via pinfall, submission, or being thrown over the top rope with your feet landing on the ground, both feet. So the first team to eliminate all 3 opponents wins this match. And again, there are no tags. It's basically a gauntlet match, but with teams. So always with one-on-one matches in the ring. Sal the Pal and Rush Freeman are going to start this match. Oh, another way to think of it is this is exactly if you played like the old Super Nintendo WWE Raw games. This is before they had like tag matches. These were the way you could have tag matches, is when you beat the guy, then the next one comes out. So anyway, Sal the Pal and Rush Freeman are going to start this match. As soon as the bell rings, Sal crushes Rush with a running axe handle, then gets wrist control and stomps on the face of Rush, followed by a running knee strike that misses by a mile. But he reacts to it anyway. So Sal now freaks out, almost gets beaten because of this with a roll up. Rush then takes the off, just absolutely destroys Sal with a huge lariat here. Danny Dealz has his back turned, and he's going to try and trip Sal here with an Irish whip, but Sal reverses it, and Danny's the one that gets taken down. Danny takes down his own man, Rush, instead here. So Sal then hits a running flatliner right after that for the 1-2-3, and Rush Freeman has been eliminated. So Rush had just crushed Sal, but his own manager takes him out here. So Sal claps to the sky now as Jeremiah Plunkett now comes in, and Sal isn't paying attention. Plunkett tries a crucifix spin, but Sal's able to kick out at 2. Sal now bites him and quickens the pace here, and Sal hits a bad-looking springboard stunner, only getting a 2 count off of that. Plunkett now turns it around with hitting punches in the corner, but Sal battles back with multiple headbutts in a row. Sal now stands on the middle rope and just jumps off into a punch from Plunkett. Plunkett hits a DDT right after that for the 1-2-3. Sal the Pal has been eliminated. Both teams are tied with 2 men remaining. So my favorite NWA men's wrestler, Gaagz the Gimp, comes in next. And if you're wondering, Ella Envy might be my favorite NWA women's wrestler. She was hilarious in that 4-way the other week. So Plunkett now goes on the attack right away with some strikes and sends Gaagz into the corner hard. Gaagz fires up here, hitting 2-handed chops, but Plunkett hits a big knee strike to stay in control. Gaagz pulls on the nose, but then gets rocked with a big punch. Then Gaagz counters a corner charge twice in a row, but Plunkett blocks the fetish attempt, which is the sliced bread number 2. Plunkett applies a bear hug now, but Gaagz likes the pain, so Plunkett lets go a little bit disturbed. Gaagz applies the gag reflex dragon sleeper, and Plunkett is forced to tap out. So Jeremiah Plunkett has been eliminated. The Miserably Faithful are up 2-1, and Alex Taylor now rushes in, taking down Gaagz the Gimp right away. Alex hits a snap suplex, but only for a 1 count. A lot of fight left in Gaagz here, who now rubs Alex's body to block the next attack. Gaagz takes his tongue out, but Alex hits a drop kick that sends Gaagz over the top rope, and now Gaagz the Gimp has been eliminated. It's down to a regular one-on-one match now, with over-the-top rules also being a way to win, unlike regular one-on-one matches. So Judais now comes in, hits Alex with a huge running big boot before Judais can even take his jacket off. So Judais now hits a choke slam on the much smaller Alex Taylor here. Then Judais hits the border toss crucifix bomb for the 1-2-3. Alex Taylor has been eliminated, and the winners of this team war match is the Miserably Faithful. Judais is the sole survivor here, and did not take any damage in the match whatsoever. So flawless victory here. That was a cool match stipulation. It really made Judais look like a beast as well. So good stuff. I love Miserably Faithful as a faction. I can't wait to hear from Father James Mitchell about how he's now added Max the Impaler to his stable. So that should be interesting. Maybe they can go after the women's world title or the new women's tag TV title. Or maybe tag 2 if they add another someone for the women's division in their stable. So it should be good to look out for. Meanwhile, Danny Dealz definitely will have some explaining to do after this one, as the ill-begotten never recovered from his mistake when he tripped Rush Freeman, who was on a roll. So now we go to a heart-to-heart interview segment with May Valentine. Her guest this week it's not a weekly thing, but her guest this time is Colby Carino, who does not look happy to be doing this. So also with May is Aron Stevens and his new protege, Casey Rocks. They're chilling in the corner. May asks about Colby's childhood, growing up with his wrestling father. She basically just says, was he nice? And Colby says, well yeah, my childhood was great. My father took me all over the world. I went to all the wrestling shows that mattered. So May now asks Colby about his feelings about Tyrus, and Colby says he's all right, I guess. And then Aron says, he basically gives Colby a hard time, like, oh, I thought your dad was good at promos. What happened to you? So the main thing here is that they just keep weirdly asking Colby about Tyrus. Eventually, Colby gets really mad and says, why are we even talking about Tyrus? I'm not going for the TV title. I want the junior heavyweight title. So then the segment ends. Wow, what the heck was the point of that segment? If it was just to be funny, it wasn't funny. So that was a giant waste of time. I don't know what I don't know what the whole obsession with Tyrus is to begin with. Not just him being in the main event, but now this is multiple weeks where May Valentine acts as if she's just like has some kind of love potion that made her fall in love with Tyrus all of a sudden. Really weird stuff. So after an ad break now, we see the end of the match from USA last week, where Marty Bell won a 4-way match, which might get her in line for the newly created NWA Women's TV title. But when that announcement was made by Medusa, Allison Kay was there with her too. So it seems maybe both members of the Hex might be after the same singles title here. That's interesting for sure. More excuse me. And we didn't get any more info about the NWA Women's TV title this week, so maybe we'll get some more next week. I have no clue if there's going to be a tournament, and we've got this Mildred Burke Invitational coming up. Maybe the winner of that, well, I guess we already know what the winner of that gets. They get a title shot on night 2 of NWA 74. So we've got a couple big things happening in the women's division. Unfortunately, we haven't seen Pretty Empowered for a while, the tag team champions. So hopefully we get to see Pretty Empowered pretty soon here. They're one of my favorite acts on the NWA roster, men or women. So, and they've got a great storyline going, where the last time we saw them, Ella Envy's cheating had caused Kenzie Page to just freak out and like almost cry over it, because she doesn't want to be known as like a cheating team. So we haven't really touched on that at all, not even in interviews or anything. So that's a little disappointing. They are your women's tag team champions. It's not like some random tag team that's on your roster. So where are they? Anyway, now in the back with May Valentine is NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Homicide, as well as Caprice Coleman. So May says, Homicide, why did you decide to give Luke Hawk's son, PJ Hawks, a title shot? So Homicide says, well, I'm a fighting champion. He's a future legend. I'm all about the future. But what's this about? I'm hearing about his pops being angry. Luke, you don't want to go there, bro. Your son's a future legend. Luke, whatever it is, stop it, because I will hurt you. I will break your bones. So May then quickly changes the subject after that and um, says, Caprice, you're here to make a big announcement. So Caprice Coleman then says, that's right. I heard that I'm going to be on the Go Home show for NWA 74. What an honor it is to be called to do something like that. Homicide, when you're finished with the kids, give a man a chance. And then the interview ends. So sign me up for a Coleman against Homicide match. That sounds amazing. So Luke Hawx is going to be even more mad now at Homicide after this promo, saying that he would break his bones. So I'd have to imagine Luke will react to this soon. We do the main event of this week's USA. So the last match I'll be covering in this review is Homicide defending the title against PJ Hawx in a rematch from Always Ready. So we'll be getting to that later. I'm sure Luke would appear, but spoiler alert, Luke does not appear at all during that match. So it's going to be something further on down the line. Now it's time for our Powerrr main event this week with the NWA television title on the line. Odinson, the challenger, comes out first. He sprays some kind of white substance all over his face. That's weirder than anything Gaagz the Gimp does. I don't know what the heck that was, but Odinson seems pleased with himself for making his mouth and beard all white here. He won the #1 contendership about a month ago, winning a triple threat match against Judais and AJ Kazanza. So since then, Odinson has had one terrible promo, and I don't think we've seen him in any matches. So out next is NWA TV champion Tyrus, also #1 contender to the NWA World Heavyweight title without earning it. He would just give it to him because it belonged to Nick Aldis. So anyway, Tyrus, of course, accompanied by the church's money, Black G's. And Tyrus now looks like he even struggles to walk. So how is this guy in the main event of NWA 74? I get you put the TV champion on him, have him have these short matches. That's fine. But putting him in the big main event when you teased that it was going to be Nick Aldis, we all watched the television show where it was going to be Nick Aldis, and then you just took it away because of reasons. You know what I mean? And now you're not even explaining the reasons or explaining that Tyrus is the champion. So anyway, there's a 6-minute, 5-second time limit for this match. And again, it is for the NWA Television Championship. So they tie up here, Odinson and Tyrus, but Tyrus wins the strength battle using his size advantage right away here. So Odinson now hits some big European uppercuts, but Tyrus shoves Odinson away, hits a big T-bone suplex. That looked nice. And then a splash into the corner. Odinson already looks in rough shape. Tyrus now drops a standing elbow, then does push-ups on top of Odinson. So Tyrus then applies a nerve hold on the shoulder of Odinson, and we have about 4 minutes left in the time limit. Odinson gets out and completely misses on a flying European uppercut, but Tyrus sells it anyway. Now Odinson hits another uppercut in the corner. He springs off the middle rope with a flying uppercut. Odinson goes up to the top rope. Black G's grabs his leg, but Odinson kicks him away and then hits a flying uppercut and then knocking the big Tyrus down for a 2 count. So Tyrus is now holding his arm in pain. So Odinson hits a flying uppercut and then tries for a flying uppercut, but Tyrus blocks it and Tyrus hits the heart punch for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match and still NWA television champion Tyrus. So wow, was that a bad match? Tyrus is way too immobile. The suplex was nice, but the rest was all crap. We're getting like Yoda nerve holds out here in 2022. Come on, bro. So anyway, all Odinson could do on Tyrus because he's so big was flying uppercuts. I was not joking. I was saying in a joking manner because it was a joke. This man just hit 10 flying uppercuts and nothing else, and then on the 11th try for the flying uppercut, it was blocked and he lost. What the heck was that? So anyway, that match lasted about 4 minutes. What a main event title match, right? So anyway, as soon as the match ends, the announcers say goodbye and say it's the end of Powerrr. But I noticed there was about 10 minutes left in this video, so I was like, wow, are we about to get the Billy Corgan stuff added to this and trying to explain what the heck's going on with Tyrus being in the main event all of a sudden? I'm like, maybe, because the first thing we see after Powerrr signed off is a graphic saying that at NWA 74, it will be Trevor Murdoch versus Tyrus for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So let's see what happens. I see that Nick Aldis is still listed as one of the show's producers as the credits roll, but then no Billy Corgan, no explanation for why Tyrus is in the main event. Instead, the final 10 minutes is from the match from Always Ready pay-per-view, where Taya Valkyrie concusses Natalia Markova, seemingly on purpose, in my opinion. So even though Taya lost this match because of the concussion to Markova, Taya was able to take Markova's #1 contendership spot after beating Kylan King last week on Empowered. So I went to the part, I wanted to see the part where Taya concusses Markova again to see if I'd been over exaggerating this, but no, it definitely, I watched it again. It looks like Taya did it recklessly. And at the time, I was thinking after Markova won, my first thought was that the reigning AAA and MLW women's champion Taya Valkyrie didn't like the fact that she was about to lose her first match in NWA to someone who wasn't even the champion. So after rewatching it here, I do think that Taya tried to win the match for real by referee stoppage, or hoping Markova wouldn't be able to kick out. Either that, or I'm just a filthy mark. But wow, my respect is out the window for Taya Valkyrie ever since watching that. Watching it again here just made me feel a little bit uneasy now that I know that Markova's been out since then. She had like blood coming out of her mouth and stuff like that, like internal injuries, including brain injuries, of course, with the concussion. So not good there. All right, let's see what happens on this week's episode of NWA USA. It was recorded in Nashville, Tennessee, and aired on August 6th, 2022. So we start right away with the bell ringing for a match. Magic Jake Dumas is here. He's got his assistant CJ, and his opponents are a weird tag team of Brett Buff Shea and the Thrill Billy Silas, who also has Pollo Del Mar with him. So I'm looking around here for Jake's partner. I don't see one. Is it going to be CJ? She's up on the apron, but no, it's going to be a 2-on-1 handicap match. It was supposed to be a tag match, but Jake's partner, Jax Dane, never showed up for this match. Brett Buff Shea now hits a hip toss and 2 arm drags to start this match out. This is not a good situation for Jake Dumas to be in. Brett now gets wrist control, works over the arm a little bit, and tags in Thrill Billy Silas. So Thrill Billy now hits a big punch and tags in Brett for a double team move. Thrill Billy lifts Brett up into a gorilla press, showing great strength here from the Thrill Billy, but then he throws his own partner at Jake, who ducks under the attack, sending Brett Buff Shea crashing hard into the mat. CJ's pleased with this on the outside. Pollo Del Mar is dressed as a cowgirl here, so Jake now hits a big side slam and makes a cocky cover for a 2 count. Jake now hits a face breaker across his crashing Brett's face into his shin. Then Jake hits a vertical suplex right after that. So Thrill Billy really wants tagged in badly now. Brett escapes off of the shoulders of Jake to tag in the Thrill Billy. Jake now throws his hat off, or knocks his hat accidentally off the ring post, but CJ's able to catch it in midair. And then CJ presents the hat to everybody. CJ always makes me laugh every time she's out here managing. She doesn't have to say one word, and yet she's one of my favorite managers in all of wrestling right now currently. So Thrill Billy now comes in and he hits a big boot and a scoop slam for a 2 count. Pollo Del Mar now yells across the ring to CJ to stop distracting everybody with your magic. So that was funny too. Great start to USA this week. Meanwhile, Thrill Billy hits a massive short arm lariat. So this is definitely the best stuff I've seen out of Thrill Billy Silas. Maybe he's just better in a tag team situation because all these little short bursts of offense here are great. Meanwhile, I don't remember much of great things from him in his singles matches. So now Pollo Del Mar is so mad at CJ that she goes around the ring to confront her. Pollo says, "I see you looking at my man. I know he looks beautiful." Then Thrill Billy tells his partner Brett, "Here, take this. I got to go deal with something." So Thrill Billy tags in Brett, who and then Thrill Billy goes out to the 2 women and says to CJ, "Listen here, you little she-devil. You got skinny legs, and I already got a woman." So CJ doesn't react to this at all. As usual, CJ's just in their own little world, still presenting the hat to everyone. Meanwhile, Brett Buff Shea's in the ring working over Jake Dumas. There is a match going on. Hilariously, we only cut away from the 3 on the outside for 1 second, but now Pollo Del Mar is collapsed on the floor with Thrill Billy checking over her. CJ's still just presenting the hat in her own little happy little world. The announcer says, "What's happening?" So I'm actually in love with this match. This match is hilarious. So Brett Buff Shea now hits hits a jumping knee and a crossbody, but Jake hits a throat thrust because the referee's now distracted. CJ has gotten up on the apron. She finally has the hat set down. Jake then uses that throat thrust to hit the Abra Cadaver and TKO neckbreaker for the 1-2-3. So the winner of this match by pinfall, Magic Jake Dumas, and maybe Jack Stain too. I don't even know. Jack Stain never appeared. Whatever happened to Pollo Del Mar there? Did CJ attack her or use magic? Did Pollo faint? I have no idea what was going on here, but a really fun match. And Magic Jake Dumas continues to pick up wins. He should be in line for a title shot soon, maybe against Jack Dane, who didn't show up for his match here to be his partner. So CJ now gives Jake a playing card, and Jake gives Brett Buffshay a paper cut across the eyes with the playing card. So CJ actually breaks her smile for the first time all match because she's just in her own little world, remember. So only for a second here she breaks her smile, but it was exactly when the paper cut happened. So that might be some kind of storyline later on where CJ's kind of against her will or something, or it just might be nothing. Who knows? But anyway, I love CJ the Assistant. Brett Buffshay is now rolling around the ring in pain, and Thrill-Billy Silas and Pollo Del Mar are nowhere to be found. But then they appear from out under the ring where they seemingly have been making out and stuff under there. So what a strange match here, but I loved it. Now we get the opening video for USA after we're already a quarter of the way through the episode. After that, Kyle Davis is in the interviewer section, and he's got Jack Stain's representation, Chris Silvio Esquire. So Kyle asks him, why did Jack Stain not show up for this tag match? And Chris says Jack Stain didn't no show. The Dane event did not come because the Dane event didn't have to show up tonight. The Dane event has fulfilled his contractual obligations. He's required at a minimum 2 fortnights before appearing on NWA television. He got 1 fortnight. Sorry. No, it's a no from Jack Stain. So the Dane event is canceled. Now Mercurio, of all people, walks out and he says, I say, this is me talking. I have no idea what Chris Silvio was trying to say there. I think he was saying that Dane needs 4 weeks notice before matches, but he never said the word notice or anything like that. So terrible promo here. He messed up the entire premise of the entire damn thing. So now Chris says, I know exactly why Mercurio's out here. I did some digging on this young man over here. Silvio's an Italian last name, so I heard when I heard we had a new Italian wrestler, I did my research, and it turns out this man is a fraudulent. He's not who he says he is. He's here on an expired visa. So Mercurio says, no, you got it all wrong. I don't use Visa. I use a MasterCard. I don't know what you're talking about, but I am offended because you're Italian and you can't say my name right. Show some respect. I don't like the way you're talking to me. And now you're starting to make me use an ugly face. And nobody makes me an ugly face. It's just a really weird promo here. So Chris says, all right, cool. And the segment ends. That was a terrible promo. I'm fine with the Mercurio character, but Chris Silvio was awful. That segment was meaningless unless it's leading up to a Jack Stain Mercurio feud. I have no idea what the heck that even was. So now Jamie Stanley comes out for the next match, and USA is definitely becoming one of his shows. Like he's always on USA. So KC Rocks is going to be his opponent, accompanied by his mentor, Aron Stevens. We last saw Casey getting beat up in front of his own mother just so Aron could make a somebody call my mom a joke to Tyrus. So KC Rocks looks exactly like Enzo Amore, which probably is not a good thing. People that don't like Enzo Amore would be put off, and then people that do like Enzo Amore are just going to think he's stealing his style. So KC Rocks is very, very small, and I would not consider Jamie Stanley a junior heavyweight. So this is an open weight match here. Jamie takes control right away with some back elbows and a hip toss, and the crowd's cheering loudly for KC to fight back. Jamie drops multiple standing elbows. KC now tries to hit a few strikes, but gets caught in a big power slam from Jamie. But KC counters a delayed vertical suplex for a 2 count, gets 2 more pins for a 2 count. KC drops Jamie on the ropes with a drop toe hold, and then Aron Stevens punches Jamie right in the face. The referee did not see it. KC rolls him up for the 1-2-3. The winner of this match by pinfall, KC Rocks. So, wow, I did not see that coming from Aron Stevens there, but this is definitely interesting. So, Aron retired from wrestling, I suppose, and now he's the manager of both 51-year-old Rodney Mack and like 22-year-old KC Rocks. So, interesting here. we don't get much out of this per se, or the Rodney Mack thing on Powerrr, but I'm still interested to see where this Aron Stevens stuff is going. So in the back now with May is the Cardonas. It's Brian Myers, VSK, and Mike Knox. And at NWA 74, Mike Knox takes on Bully Ray, who Mike Knox put through a table and blamed Bully for leaving aces and eights of all people. Yes, they're referencing TNA storylines here, but he blames Bully Ray for leaving ace and eights to die while Bully went and signed a huge multi-million-dollar contract to WWE. Anyway, May asks, what are Mike's chances of beating Bully Ray? And Myers and VSK get mad. They say, that's disrespectful, blah, blah, blah. Mike Knox now says, my chances seem very well. I'm no longer under your boot, under your control. You have no idea what I plan to do to you, brother. So that should be a pretty good match. I like that they're using this 10-year-old storyline from TNA, but I'm sure that I'm only a small percentage of people that even knows what the heck Mike Knox is talking about. But I like it. After an ad break now, May's in the back with Ricky Morton, and May wants to know why Ricky challenged Wrecking Ball Legursky of all people for a match on Powerrr. I'm thinking this week, but maybe they just said Powerrr. So strap yourself in. Here comes the promo of the week, and it's from 60-year-old Ricky Morton, who says, some people might think that I'm a little senile. I done lost my mind, but I grew up in the NWA. I know the best wrestlers in the world are here. Besides that, he's been telling everybody how old I am and how he's going to jerk my mullet off my head. But you got to understand one thing, Wrecking Ball. I've been through that before. If you think I'm scared of you, I'm not. I'm stepping in that ring to wrestle you to prove a point, not only to you, but to myself and everybody else here in the NWA. I'm ready for you. Come on, get you some. So wow, that was probably the best promo all week. I hope some of the youngsters were listening to that. That's exactly how promos are done right. Now all of a sudden I'm interested to find out how Ricky Morton does against Wrecking Ball Legursky, a match I never would have thought I would want to see. Now all of a sudden I'm looking forward to that match. That's exactly how promos are supposed to work. Remember when I was talking about those promos earlier where they had no point, they had no rhyme or reason? Is this to be funny? Because it wasn't funny. So what's the whole point of this? This is how promos work. All of a sudden, I'm interested in a Ricky Morton Wrecking Ball Legursky match. Why? Because of one little 30-second promo from somebody that actually knows how to cut a promo to make you feel like you want to watch a match. If you want someone that's current day, Eddie Kingston can talk you into any match in 30 seconds. All of a sudden, you care about this random ass match that they threw together. Because you know wrestling's going to have a lot of random matches that just have to be thrown together as filler. So why not have some people that can say some really good promos, and all of a sudden in 30 seconds you're like, yeah, I want to see how this promo goes. All of a sudden I'm interested to see, or whatever, you know. So and Ricky Morton didn't say anything like crazy or anything like I haven't heard before, but great delivery on it. I felt like he believed every single word that he was saying. And all of a sudden I'm interested in that match. So let's get to our main event. It's our last match we're covering here on the review, and it'll be on the main event of this week's episode of USA for the NWA Junior Heavyweight title. Homicide defends against PJ Hawks. So this is a rematch from Always Ready pay-per-view where Homicide won, which caused Colby Corino to come out with the Fixers, beat up both men, and cash in his title match opportunity, which Colby lost. But in the process, Luke Hawks got mad at Homicide for not helping and getting PJ beat up in that situation and stuff. So Luke Hawks now wants a piece of Homicide, but Homicide decided he wanted to give PJ Hawks a title shot here instead. So probably Homicide wanting to send Luke a message here by beating the crap out of PJ or something. But what Homicide was talking about was he thinks PJ is a future legend. So there's that too. The challenger, PJ Hawks, comes out first. He's looking all fired up for this title match. The New Orleans native is wearing Saints black and gold tonight. Homicide now comes out looking super focused for this one. PJ starts strong with some grappling. We start with some catch as catch can, amateur style wrestling, technical style. Homicide's able to turn it around, showing he has good technical skills too. PJ now takes him down again, but Homicide gets out of a headlock to hit a back elbow, a scoop slam. That only gets a 1 count on PJ, who's got a lot of fire in his heart tonight. So Homicide applies a head scissors across the head on the mat here. Homicide breaks the hold himself to hit a nice looking butterfly suplex. PJ now turns it around with a belly suplex and hits a draping neck breaker that looked really good for a 2 count. Some great moves from young PJ Hawks already here. PJ now gets a nice takedown and applies a hammerlock on the arm. Homicide gets out, but PJ hits a German suplex right after. Homicide now hits 2 vertical suplexes in a row. Looked like he was going for 3 amigos, but he stops after the second one, going for a Boston Crab, but PJ's able to block it. PJ now gets slammed off the middle rope before he could dive off and do. Now we get some more nice technical wrestling. PJ gets the Hawks clutch applied over the legs of Homicide, who's trapped in the middle of the ring here. Almost has to tap out twice, but finally gets to the ring to break the hold. So really good match here. Awesome stuff. PJ is definitely showing that he's strong against the champion here. Homicide now hits a top rope tornado DDT, and PJ's just barely able to kick out, but he's in bad shape now. Homicide now hits a neck breaker, but PJ still has some fight left in him, able to kick out again. Now PJ hits a belly to belly suplex again on Homicide, but PJ tries he blocks the cop killer here, but Homicide applies an STF. And then PJ is just barely able to kick out, hits a big kick to the face of Homicide for a 2 count here, almost beating the champ yet again. But Homicide's able to avoid a corner move here, which puts PJ up on the ropes, and then nicely hitting Homicide hits a middle rope Koji cutter for the 1-2-3. So the winner of this match, and still NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion, Homicide. So USA ends right after the match there. That was a great match, easily the best NWA match of the week. They saved it for last. Great title match here. Homicide might not be lying when he's saying that PJ Hawks might be is a future legend, and I would love to see PJ Hawks in New Japan at Best of the Super Juniors one of these years. I think he would do great there. So great stuff here. Next for Homicide, it looks like he might have a title defense even before NWA 74, where he's already scheduled to fight Ricky Morton's son, Kerry Morton. So, but before that, it looks like it might be Caprice Coleman versus Homicide on Powerrr in a couple weeks. So that looks like a really good match. But like I said, no appearances from Billy Corgan, no explanation as to why Tyrus is in the main event. We heard a really lethargic promo from Trevor Murdoch, but at least he finally decided to show up to the show he's a champion of. Might have to start calling him Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns over here. So apparently he's got a big match against Pope next week. We don't know why, but apparently there's going to be some story coming out of it. Maybe we'll finally figure out what's going on with the whole Tyrus thing and Nick Aldis and all that stuff. So I don't think NWA can wait too much longer before trying to tell the fans what the heck's going on, before the fans starts thinking, why the heck is Tyrus in the main event and why would I want to watch this kind of deal. So hopefully we start to get some explanation this week. Nothing this week about it. We also got a lot of questions for NWA 74, like what's going on with the Mildred Burke Invitational, what's going on with the new NWA Women's TV title. Some of the other title matches need to get formed, and but yeah, it all comes back to that Tyrus main event. They really need to start explaining why that's a whole story to begin with. So I'm going to get going. I'll be back with next week's coverage of NWA. Maybe we'll find some more questions out. In the meantime, I've got every show of G1 from New Japan reviewed if you want to check that out, as well as Impact and AEW and WWE. So thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.